So there's this record coming out in April and it's called Theology, and there's two different sides. One is acoustic and the other is full stadium hip-hop type. What we're going to do tonight is the acoustic side. And the whole project is dedicated to a man named Wilfred Harrington, so I'd like to dedicate the evening to him and all. Tears of tears above, you know the soul and you know what makes it gold. You give life through blood, 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 blood. Oh, blood, blood. Oh, I wanna make something so lovely for you, 'cause I promise that's what I do for you. With the Bible I stole, I know you forgave my soul, because such was my need on a chronic Christmas Eve. And I think we're agreed that it should have been free. And you said to me, they dress the wounds of my poor people as though they're nothing, saying peace, peace, when there's no peace. They dress the wounds of my poor people as though they're nothing, saying peace, 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 when there's no peace. Days without number, days without number. Now can a bride forget her jewels, or a maid her ornaments? Yet my people forgotten me. Days without number, days without number. And in their want, oh, in their want, and in their want, who'll dress their wounds, who'll dress their wounds. Out of the depths I cry to you, oh Lord. Don't let my cries for mercy be ignored. If you keep account of sins, oh, who would stand? But you have forgiveness in your hands. And I've heard religion say you're to be feared, but I don't buy into everything I hear. And it seems to me you're hostage to those rules that were made by religion and not by you. And I'm wondering, will you ever get yourself free? Is it bad to think you might like hell from me? Is there anything my little heart can do to help religion share us with you? For all you're like a ghost in your own home, nobody hears you crying all alone. Ooh. Oh, you are the one true, really voiceless one. They have their backs turned to you for worship of gold and stone. I long for you as watchmen long for the end of night. Oh, I long for you as watchmen long for the end of night. Oh, I long for you. For the purposes of this song, you planted it with the choicest of vine, and you even built a tower and a press to make wine, and you looked that it would bring forth sweet grapes, and it gave only wild grapes. What would you say, Jerusalem and Judah? You be the judges, I pray. Between me and my vineyard, this is what God says. What more could I have done in it that I did not do in it? Why, when I ask it for sweetness, it brings only bitterness. For the vineyard of the Lord of hosts is the house of Israel, and the men of Judah his pleasant plant. And he looks for justice, but beholds oppression. And he hopes for equality, but hears a cry. Jerusalem and Judah, this is God's reply. Sadness will come to those who build house to house and lay field to field till there's room for none but you to dwell in the land, oh, in the land. And sadness will come to those who call evil good and good evil, who present darkness as light and light as darkness, who present as sweetness only the things which are bitterness. For the vineyard of the Lord of hosts is the house of Israel, and the men of Judah his pleasant plant, oh, his pleasant plant. Oh, that my eyes were a fountain of tears, that I might weep for my poor people. For every boot stamped with fierceness, for every cloak rolled in blood, Jerusalem and Judah, I'd cry if I could. Oh, that my eyes were a fountain of tears, I might weep for my poor people. There is no Holy One like you. You install kings and take them down. Truly there is no one beside you. You made all of creation with wisdom. May the glory of Jah endure forever. The bows of the mighty are broken, and the weak are clothed with strength. There is the sea, vast and wide, with all its creatures beyond number. There go the ships, they all look to you. You lift up the poor into a place of honor. May the glory of Jah endure forever. The bows of the mighty are broken, and the weak are clothed with strength. Jah makes poor, or he makes rich. The pillars of the earth belong to him, and he has set his world upon them to raise us up from the dunghill. May the glory of Jah endure forever. The bows of the mighty are broken, and the weak are clothed with strength. May the glory of Jah endure forever. The bows of the mighty are broken, and the weak are clothed with strength. Thanks. Speed okay, yeah? Whomsoever dwells in the shelter of the Most High, live under the protection of the Shaddai. I say of my Lord that he is my fortress, that he is my own love, in whom I trust, that he will save you from the fowler's trap, and he will save you from any Babylon crap, and he will lift you all up in his wings, and you'll find refuge all underneath those things, and his truth will be your 'cause you're dealing with the most high. And he will send his angels to mind you, and they will lift you all up so that you won't strike your foot against no stone. Won't strike your foot against no stone. Against no stone. Against no stone. And he will send his angels to mind you, and they will lift you up so that you won't strike your foot against no stone. Don't strike your foot against no stone. Thank you. I don't know how to love him, what to do, how to move him. I've been changed, yes, really changed in these past few days when I've seen myself. I seem like someone else, and I don't know how to take this. I don't see why he moves me. He's a man, he's just a man. And I've had so many men before in very many ways. He's just one more. Should I bring him down? Should I scream and shout? Should I speak of love? Let my feelings out. I never thought I'd come to this. What's it all about? Yeah, if he said he loved me, I'd be lost, I'd be frightened. I couldn't cope, just couldn't cope. I'd turn my head, I'd back away. I wouldn't want to know. He scares me so. Should I bring him down? Should I scream and shout? Should I speak of love? Let my feelings out. I never thought We people who are darker than blue, don't let us hang around this town and let what others say come true. We're just good for nothing, they all figure. A boyish grown-up, shiftless jizzer. Now we can't hardly stand for that. Or is that really where it's at? We people who are darker than blue, we've got no time for segregating. I'm talking about brown and yellow too. Ah, yeah, white girl, can't you tell? I'm just the surface of our dark, deep well. If your mind could really see, you'd know your color, same as me. Pardon me, brother, as you stand in your glory. I know you won't mind if I tell the whole story. Oh, 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 oh. Now I know we have great respect for the sister and the mother. It's even better yet. But there's the joker in the street, loving one brother and killing the other. When the time comes and we are really free, there'll be no brothers left to see. We people who are darker than blue, don't let us hang around this town and let what others say come true. We're just good for nothing, they all figure. Boyish grown-up, shiftless jizzer. Now we can hardly stand for that. Or is that really where it's at? Sometimes when you study the Psalms, they tell, well, if you study it the way Jewish people teach it, you find these kind of, that each Psalm has magical properties or can be invoked for various things. And one of my favorite ones is the ones that you say when you're having a baby so that everything will be all right. So I'm going to dedicate this song to my little baby that's in my belly. And it's based on Psalm 33, which is the Psalm for babies. So. Sing, all you righteous, to the Lord. It's right that the upright should acclaim him. Sing to Jah with your guitar. Turn up your bass amp, whack it up all the way to save him. Slightly adapted, obviously. By the word of Jah, heaven was made. By the breath of his mouth, all its hosts. He gathers up the oceans like a mound and stores the deep in vaults. Sing him a new song, sing sweet with shouts of joy, for the word of Jah is right, and he loves what is right, and he sees what is right, and the earth is full of his care. Jah spoke and it was. He commanded and it endured. He frustrates the plans of nations and brings to nothing the designs of people. Okay, this is the very last song, but it's the very first song that made me want to make a record like this. So you might think you know it, but I sort of changed it around a bit, so don't sing along, okay? It's not nothing compared to you, though. Oh my God. By the rivers of Babylon, where I sat down, there I wept when I remembered Zion. By the rivers of Babylon, where I sat down, there I wept when I remembered Zion. There on the poplars, I broke my guitar because my tormentors required songs of where I'm from, songs of where I'm from. Oh, songs of Zion. If I forget you, oh Jah, may both my hands wither and may my mouth freeze if I forget how I knelt at your feet. If I forget you, oh Jah, may both my hands wither and may my mouth freeze if I forget how I felt at your feet. I hope you liked it. Thank you. I know I like doing it. Thank you. I wanna make something beautiful for you. Yeah, I guess I'd been thinking about this record really since I was about 7 years of age, to be honest. Like, I grew up in a country that was, at the time anyway, quite a theocracy, for want of a better word. Although at that age I thought that was a good thing. Like, I didn't seem to take in anything that was negative as such about Catholicism or whatever, so I was very inspired by it. But in particular, I always liked the Old Testament stuff, the prophets and the Psalms and things like that. So when I was really a small kid, I kind of was already interested in writing songs, and I had thought then that I would love to take some of the Psalms and things like that and put them to music. So it was always something that was in my mind, and some of these songs are songs that I had actually attempted to start writing when I was around 17 or so. There are versions of some of the songs that exist from then, particularly the one from the Song of Solomon. There's a really lousy version of that. But then, yeah, I guess what happened was about 3 years ago, I went to study theology at college in Dublin for a while. And there was a teacher there, who's a guy who the record is dedicated to, this guy called Father Wilfred Harrington. And he taught the course on the prophets. And he was just so inspiring, this man. He was amazing, really old guy, like, but the way that he taught the prophets was kind of like he became the God character in some way, but he was very soft, compassionate kind of man, and he left out all the aggressive part of the prophets and just brought out the stuff where the God character grieves really over, the state of his poor people kind of thing, And there was just something so inspiring about this man. But then one day I was waiting in class and I was reading the Song of Solomon, which I've always loved since I saw that movie Once Upon a Time in America, And I was reading it, and at that point I was sick of the music business and I wasn't interested in it, and and he came up and he banged his finger on the book and he went, "You should put that to music," and I was nearly going to box him because I wanted not to do it, the music business, but he had kind of put his finger on something, that the problem isn't so much that you don't want to do music, but that you're not necessarily doing what is really in your heart to do it, So once he said that, because he was so inspiring to me, I thought, oh yeah, fuck it. So that's why I did, I suppose, in the end. So yeah. So. No, it was always that I was really in love with certain texts or certain parts of texts. So I had pretty much a clear idea for years what I would love to do. But I think the thing is that at some age maybe you're too young to manage it, because your own you haven't worked out enough of your own emotional thing or whatever to understand what exactly it is you want to do. So I guess I got to the point where I understood more clearly that part of what I wanted to do was, again, having grown up in a theocracy or whatever, I understood that, theology, and this is partly why I put the two versions of the record, because, it's all about what slant people put on things. If you look at any of the religions around the world that are causing trouble or whatever, it's down to what slant people put on the theology, So the only kind of active choice I made was to deliberately pick out the things that were loving and compassionate as opposed to the things that were aggressive, because a lot of people dismiss, for example, the books of the prophets by saying, oh, they're really angry and all of that kind of stuff, but it's actually they don't understand what is really going on in the books kind of thing, So I guess what I liked about those books in particular is the God character refers to itself all the time, almost as a, and that's how I see it. This is almost like a play, the Old Testament's of characters. It doesn't matter whether you believe it or not, it's still very inspiring or interesting or whatever. But the God character compares himself all the time to like a jilted husband, and you see it run the gamut of emotions that a jilted husband would run, including anger and then sorrow for having been angry and all kind of. But a lot of the time the only thing people portray is the kind of raging, angry part, But like I say, because of this old priest who would talk about the prophets with tears in his eyes almost talking, but there's some of the language, that was the only kind of conscious choice I made, was to pull out stuff that was gentle or loving or whatever, But mainly it was stuff that I was already in love with as such, yeah. So. whomsoever dwells. Yeah, I guess there are a number of reasons for that. One, again, like I say, I think that although it was something I was very interested in doing since I was a kid, really, I think you do have to have a certain emotional or spiritual maturity, for want of a better word, to be able to handle it in a way that you're not going to come across kind of angry or any, not bound up with your own kind of personal feelings, whether good or bad, about religion or your own religious culture or whatever. And also it's a confidence thing, because it's a scary-ish thing to do, to attempt to make a record like this, because there's such a fine line, as I was saying when we met, between corny and cool when it comes to religious music, And so you want to be pretty sure that you can stay on the right side of it, But also, I guess, after Sean Nos Nua, which is the traditional Irish record I made, I guess I felt that, creatively I'd reached a certain height that you had to then go further. You couldn't go back down to just doing pop records, that there was a certain spirituality in that record, that I guess I didn't want to climb back down off, so... And I had kind of, as I say, come out of the music business at one point because I was really fed up with the whole, just bullshit of it, as I'm sure you all know. So I guess I got to a certain age in life where I thought, well, I really want to make sure I'm doing something that feeds me rather than feeds upon me. A lot of the time as an artist you really feel the business is feeding on you as such, but at least even if it is feeding on me doing this, at least something about it is also nurturing me, do you know what I mean? So. I don't know how to love him. Yeah, no, I always felt that was my song, basically. That I don't know what age I was when it came out, but very young. And of course, I think it was banned here and all kinds of trouble here over Jesus Christ Superstar, because it was this terrible thing. I think that because there was the hint of the suggestion that him and Mary Magdalene were in love, which of course all the little girls loved, because the perfect man, obviously, And so yeah, but I didn't really like how sickeningly sweet as such the song was or whatever, but also I was jealous because I was sure it was mine, so that was just my whole reaction to that song, was that's my fucking song, like, one day definitely, so yeah. Oh, actually, what am I talking about? No, I met Steve when I was like 14 at first. The first job I ever did was wrote and recorded a song for an Irish band called Intua Nua when I was 14, and Steve and Vinnie Kilduff were in that band, actually, yeah. And then I didn't see Steve again for years and met him at this guy's house out in Wicklow, and when we were recording a version of Ride On. But I guess I always wanted to work with him because it's very hard to find people who play guitar gently. A lot of the time, like, a guitar is very much a man's instrument, so it's they like to beat the shit out of it. It's the same as trying to find a drummer who doesn't want to hit everything. Do you know what I mean? So I quite like Steve that way because he's just really soft and really gentle kind of way of playing, and also, he's a shaman and all kinds of strange priestly things. So that was part of why I wanted him involved with this record as well, obviously, because he's not just your average guitar playing Joe, So. We people who are darker than blue. Don't let. Well, I guess it's interesting to me. I wondered to myself, why have I chosen a song that has nothing to do with scriptures? It's the only song on the record that has no reference to scriptures at all in it, or doesn't on the face of it have anything to do with scriptures. But what I'm interested in, I feel, is the idea of prophecy. I've always been very interested in the idea of prophecy, and I guess I would see Curtis as being pretty much a modern day prophet, really, in a lot of what he was writing. And, that song is what appealed to me about the books of the prophets is the same thing that appeals to me about people like Curtis, that they're singing for their own time, but actually it applies just as equally to our time. If you think about people like him and Muhammad Ali and people like that, what they were talking about actually is relevant to us now,
The message in a song like People Get Ready is...
Yeah, and I guess as an Irish Catholic woman too, I always identified very strongly with the civil rights movement. I can't necessarily tell you why, because it wasn't about freeing oneself from religion, but I suppose it partly was because to be an Irish person, certainly when I was growing up, to be a good person you had to think you were shit. That was the message of Catholicism at the time, And I guess that's why I identified very much with the civil rights movement, because it was all about self-esteem. And I was also fascinated with how they used music as a way, and singing as a way of, expressing, you know, the whole movement, you know. So, but yeah, and I think in Curtis's case, he's a prophet. I would see him as a prophet just as much as Isaiah or any of those people, you know. So.